Ye Shunguang returns from her first mission, acting incredibly suspicious, basically ghosting everyone's questions about how it went. She is trying way too hard to play it cool while hearing a mysterious voice yapping in her ear that nobody else can hear. It is giving major red flags, but she tries to gatekeep the trauma to avoid worrying the rest of the squad, even though her vibe is completely off. The secret is immediately exposed because Belle can actually hear the sword talking too, catching Ye Shunguang in 4K. The Qingming Sword is dropping lore about a hidden realm and the origin of its power, essentially doxing a secret location. Since the sword is mumbling about finding answers, Ye Shunguang realizes she can't gaslight Belle into thinking nothing is wrong. So she admits the weapon is whispering weird cryptic stuff to her. They decide that ignoring a cursed talking sword is probably a bad idea, so they plan to enter this so-called hidden realm. Ye Shunguang catches a mental image of the location like a downloaded map, and even though they should probably wait for backup, they decide to speedrun the investigation. Belle refuses to let her go solo because main character syndrome usually leads to getting cooked, so they team up to enter the hollow. The duo arrives in the hidden realm, and the aesthetic is totally different from a normal hollow, looking like some ancient mountain sanctuary. The Qingming Sword starts acting up immediately, reshaping the environment and clearing the path. They realize this place has a serious barrier that locks people out, meaning they are trapped in a private server until they figure out the sword's mystery or defeat whatever is running the place. Ye Shunguang starts testing out the sword's amplified abilities, realizing the realm is basically a training ground buffering her stats. They push through waves of ethereals that look glitchy and different from the usual mobs. The combat intensity ramps up as they approach an abandoned altar, and Ye Shunguang realizes that the sword is guiding her towards something specific, treating the enemies like practice dummies for a new power upgrade. They run into a woman who looks exactly like Shufu, but it turns out she is basically an NPC, or a skin suit, created by the realm. She introduces herself as Ye Shung and explains that this is the world of the sword, a simulation created by the weapon's memories. She tells them the only way to fix Ye Shunguang's corruption issue is to find 3 legendary swords hidden in the map, turning this into a massive fetch quest. The fake Shuifu explains the rules of the game. Scour the realm for 3 extraordinary swords belonging to past masters. It is basically a scavenger hunt where the prize is not losing your mind to corruption. She sends them off to find the first one with very vague instructions, proving that even in a magical memory dimension, quest givers never just tell you exactly where to go. The grind for the first sword begins now. They stumble upon a dude who looks like Senior Inhu, but he is getting absolutely wrecked by weak enemies and screaming for help. This version is actually Big Pan, a mercenary from the old days. It is super jarring because the real Inhu is a beast, but this guy is acting like a total noob. He claims he lost his sword and can't fight, which is a massive L for a legendary mercenary. Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. Big Pan leads them to his squad, who are pinned down by bandits, but he refuses to join the fight because he is terrified. His teammates expose him, revealing that he is actually cracked at fighting but lost his nerve. He is basically smurfing in a low-level lobby, but refuses to play because he is scared of his own KD ratio. The squad tries to pressure him into locking in, but he is spiraling. Big Pan runs away again like he is dodging a ranked match, and Belle and Ye Shunguang have to chase him down. They realize that this guy is suffering from success. He is so strong that he feels like a monster every time he fights. Ye Shunguang starts projecting hard, realizing she relates to Big Pan's struggle because wielding the Qingming Sword makes her feel the exact same kind of fear about her own power. Walking through the aftermath of a battle, Ye Shunguang gets introspective and starts trauma dumping about the burden of strength. She realizes Big Pan isn't just a coward, he is traumatized by how easy it is to delete people with a sword. Ye Shunguang sees her own reflection in this random NPC's struggle, understanding that fearing your own potential is part of the package deal when you are a high-tier sword user. They finally corner Big Pan and hit him with a devastating reality check. Belle gives a motivational speech, telling him that being scared doesn't mean he should let his friends get wiped. She reframes his fear as a necessary check on his power, basically telling him that feeling guilty proves he isn't a monster. It is the push he needs to stop doom-scrolling through his own anxieties and actually do something. Big Pan finally decides to stand on business. He grabs a sword and enters a flow state, absolutely dismantling the ethereals threatening his squad. It is a massive redemption moment where he accepts that he has to be the carry for his team. Watching him overcome his mental block helps Ye Shunguang realize that hesitation is just a debuff she needs to cleanse if she wants to protect her own crew. After the battle, Big Pan vanishes because his role in the simulation is done. Shufu confirms that these people are just echoes or recorded memories of past masters facing their demons. By witnessing Big Pan lock in, Ye Shunguang absorbs the sword will, which is basically experience points for her soul. She has cleared the first stage of the trial and is ready to move to the next zone. They return to the hub area and find a new character who looks exactly like Ye Shunguang's brother, Ye Shiyuan, but calls himself Peregrine. He claims to have amnesia and is just vibing in the library reading ancient books. Ye Shunguang is shook but decides to play along since everyone here is a memory clone anyway. Peregrine joins the party as the calm, intellectual type, contrasting with the chaos of the trials. The squad heads out to the second area, fighting through a new wave of enemies to reach the next trial. The combat is getting more intense, and Ye Shunguang is showing off the upgrades she got from the first sword. They are looking for the second extraordinary sword, and the vibe shifts from a battlefield to a more mystical training ground setting, hinting that the next master is going to be a martial artist. They encounter the second master, Grim Tiger, who looks just like Senior Fufu but with zero chill. She is incredibly aggressive and tries to fight them immediately, thinking they are intruders. Unlike the cowardly Big Pan, Grim Tiger is trying to solo the entire map and refuses any help. She is on a mission to prove she doesn't need forbidden tech to be strong, and she is being incredibly toxic about it. Grim Tiger explains the lore behind her anger. Her clan wants to use a cursed item called the Tiger Bane Bell because they feel weak. She is trying to clear an impossible trial purely with hands to prove that skill beats pay-to-win mechanics. However, she is getting wrecked because she threw away her weapon to make a point. It is a classic case of making the game harder for yourself for no reason. The weather in the realm turns into a depressing rainstorm, which is a direct metaphor for Grim Tiger's mental state. She is blinded by her obsession with proving a point, to the extent that she is pushing away the people she is trying to save. Ye Shunguang and Belle realize they need to intervene before she rage quits life, trying to convince her that accepting help isn't the same as being weak. They catch up to Grim Tiger and hit her with the power of friendship speech. They argue that her obsession with solo play is actually hurting her clan more than helping it. By refusing to work with others, she is becoming exactly what she hates, someone who only cares about power. She finally realizes she has been acting like a total try-hard and agrees to let them join her party for the boss fight. A wounded Tiger Tyrone ally shows up, and Grim Tiger finally drops the ego to protect him. This triggers her character development, and she regains her true strength. The squad teams up to obliterate the Ethereals, proving that a balanced team comp is always better than a solo carry. With the battle won, she vanishes, leaving behind the second sword will for Ye Shunguang to absorb. With 2 swords down, they return to the central hub to figure out the final puzzle involving monkey statues. It turns out the statues represent see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, but the layout is messed up. Peregrine, who has been studying the lore off-screen this whole time, steps up with the solution. He has been grinding the textbooks while everyone else was fighting, proving he is the brain of the operation. Peregrine reveals the solution involves the bells and the concept of cause and effect. He explains that the realm reacts to the user's heart, connecting the heavens and earth. It is a bit philosophical, but basically, they need to ring the bells to trigger the final event. His sudden expertise is a bit suspicious, but since he is solving the puzzle for them, nobody questions why the amnesiac guy knows everything. As they trigger the bells, the realm shows them the tragic endings of the masters they just met. Big Pan was eventually betrayed by his own leaders for being too strong, and Grim Tiger's clan was wiped out anyway. It is a massive vibe killer, showing that even if you struggle and win the battle, you might still lose the war. The Qingming Sword is forcing Ye Shunguang to look at the worst-case scenarios. Despite seeing the bad endings, Ye Shunguang refuses to doom spiral. She gives a speech about how the result isn't the only thing that matters. It is the resolve to fight for what you believe in. She decides that she is willing to take the risk of wielding the sword, even if her story ends tragically. This acceptance of fate is the key to mastering the weapon, and she fully syncs with the sword's will. Just as Ye Shunguang is about to claim the final victory, Peregrine steps in and absorbs the energy himself. He drops the act and reveals he is indeed the memory of Ye Shunguang's brother, Ye Shiyuan. He has recovered his memories and has been plotting to steal the sword's power this whole time. It is a massive plot twist, betraying the squad right at the finish line to take the burden onto himself. Ye Shiyuan explains his plan. He wants to become the sword's wielder in this memory realm to trick the system. If he takes the curse here, the real Ye Shunguang in the outside world will be free from the corruption. It is a self-sacrificial play born out of brotherly love, but he is being totally toxic about it by not letting Ye Shunguang make her own choices. He is trying to gatekeep the hero role. Ye Shunguang isn't having any of it and challenges her brother to a duel. She refuses to let her brother sacrifice himself and decides to beat some sense into him. The two siblings clash in an emotional 1v1 battle, with Ye Shunguang proving that she isn't the little sister who needs protecting anymore. It is the climax of the arc, settling their family drama through high-octane violence. Ye Shiyuan loses the fight and finally admits that he was holding on to the past. He realizes he was trying to protect a version of Ye Shunguang that doesn't exist anymore. He confesses that he felt useless watching his sister surpass him, and trying to take the curse was his way of feeling relevant again. They share a heartfelt moment where Ye Shunguang validates her brother, but insists on walking her own path. The brothers finally stop fighting and start bonding over snacks, specifically egg yolk pastries. They promise that in the real world, they will actually communicate instead of doing all this cryptic self-sacrifice nonsense. Ye Shiyuan fades away, entrusting the future to Ye Shunguang. It is a wholesome conclusion to the family trauma arc, leaving Ye Shunguang fully resolved and ready to face the final test. With the family drama resolved, the true nature of the Qingming Sword is revealed. The prophecy isn't about one person suffering alone, it is about sharing the burden with the memories of past masters. By connecting with others, the corruption is diluted. Ye Shunguang learns that she doesn't have to be a lonely edgelord. Her strength comes from the connections she has made. She is finally qualified to wield the weapon properly. Ye Shunguang wakes up back in reality, and the whole squad is there waiting for her. The mood instantly shifts from mystical angst to cozy vibes. They decide to have a massive feast to celebrate her safe return. It turns out the dream had a real impact, as Ye Shunguang feels lighter and more focused. The squad bickering over food proves that despite all the cosmic horror, their friendship is the real anchor. A letter arrives from the real Ye Shiyuan, confirming that the connection in the dream was legit. Ye Shunguang decides to read it later, savoring the moment with her friends first. The narrative arc closes with Ye Shunguang fully accepting her role as a void hunter, no longer afraid of her weapon or her future. She is ready to stand on business, backed by her squad and the memories of the past. The scene transitions into a high-energy combat showcase, where Ye Shunguang demonstrates her new mastery over the Qingming Sword. She is absolutely shredding through enemies with flashy combos, showing that the mental upgrades definitely translated to physical stats. The hesitation from the beginning is completely gone, replaced by fluid movement and devastating attacks that light up the screen. The fighting continues with Ye Shunguang, utilizing electrical attacks and rapid sword strikes, syncing perfectly with the game's soundtrack. She is pulling off ultimate moves that clear the entire screen, visually representing her full synchronization with the sword's will. It is basically a highlight reel of her being absolutely cracked at the game, validating all the emotional labor she just went through in the hidden realm. In the final stretch, Ye Shunguang unleashes her most powerful techniques, cutting through darkness and frost with ease. The visual effects go crazy as she dominates the battlefield, proving she has completely conquered the corruption that was threatening her earlier. The video ends on a high note, solidifying her status as a top-tier operator who has successfully balanced her trauma with her overwhelming power. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.